Okay, so I was looking through these notes from Honduras this past July,
Yeah.
and this image just jumped out. 10 patients in a room maybe the size of two semi-private rooms here.
Wow.
Yeah, and families holding IV bags, no poles, no curtains, staff just stretched so thin.
Straight into the deep end, huh? It paints a picture immediately.
It really does. And that's kind of the source material here, these personal journal entries, not
Yeah.
just clinical notes.
Right, much more. Visceral, real life, the challenges, the day-to-day stuff alongside the medical crises.
Exactly. And that's what we want to get into today. Sort of pull out the core moments, the surprises, without getting totally bogged down. The things that make you think.
The aha moments.
Precisely. So the mission, if you like, is to understand these challenges, the healthcare side, communication, just the human spirit in that setting.
Sounds good. Where do we start? The healthcare realities seem like the obvious place.
Yeah, let's dive in there. That hospital in Lasiva, the contrast is just stark, isn't it?
It really is. Overcrowding, lack of basic things like IV poles you mentioned. Even cleanliness was noted as an issue.
And just one nurse trying to manage so many really sick people, it's hard to
The
imagine.
pressure must be immense.
And then there's the medication aspect. This part really caught my eye.
the chloramphenicol.
Yeah, using it basically without worrying too much about side effects because it works and it's affordable.
It's a really difficult trade-off, isn't it? You've got immediate life-threatening illness
Right.
versus potential long-term problems. It's a pragmatic choice maybe, but a tough one. It's something you wouldn't see as often in, say, a well-resourced hospital here.
Absolutely. Then you get these other moments, really powerful human stories, like the woman whose son woke up after she prayed.
Oh, yeah, that was incredible. The family was absolutely convinced it was their faith.
The journal even connects it to a story in the Bible, Mark 5, about faith and healing.
And the detail. The son just says, "Mom, I'm hungry," after days of being unresponsive.
Gives you chills. It's less about debating miracles and more about understanding that power of belief for people, though.
Exactly. How they make sense of things, especially when medicine can only do so much.
Then there's the other end of the spectrum, almost. The 9-month-old baby.
Oh, that was tough to read. Only 14 pounds.
Just heartbreaking. And the mother walked for 3 hours.
3 hours. Not really understanding it was malnutrition at first.
And the cause, she'd stopped breastfeeding using river water.
Contaminated river water, yeah. It shows how poverty, lack of knowledge, health outcomes, they're all tangled up.
Totally. And the immediate steps they took, rehydration, teaching her to purify water with Clorox.
Practical help.
But that detail about her income, nothing.
Yeah.
Just underscores the depth of the hardship.
It really does. Healthcare isn't in a vacuum, is it? It's tied to everything else.
Absolutely not.
Okay, then there's Alfredo. The kidney stone story.
Huh.
Eh,
Well, not funny for him, obviously, but the diagnosis.
appendicitis on the left side. Exactly. Makes you wonder about the diagnostic tools available, relying on basic assessment.
And then the scramble for pain relief. The narcotics locked up, no key.
Until Rainerio steps in with a screwdriver.
You couldn't make it up. Resourcefulness born out of necessity, I guess.
Absolutely. Whatever works.
And another one, the woman with the severe asthma attack in Lucinda.
Right. And Matt having to drive through a river to reach her.
Yeah, down a dirt road,
Yeah.
then literally in the river.
Shows the lengths they had to go to. The logistical nightmares of remote healthcare.
But she recovered, thankfully.
Oh,
Though she avoided the river on the way back, apparently.
can't blame her. But it shows that dedication can make a difference, even with obstacles.
Definitely. Okay, so those are some intense healthcare situations. But the journal also gives glimpses into just normal for their daily life.
Right, like the power outages.
Yeah, happening all the time. Something we barely think about.
But it wasn't just inconvenient, was it? It knocked out the water pump.
Right, because it was electric.
Yeah.
So no power, no water.
And that feeling of isolation. Listening to shortwave radio from Ecuador for news.
Yeah, feeling disconnected, missing some comforts maybe, but also kind of appreciating the distance from other stuff.
A different pace of life, perhaps.
Then the bugs,
Yeah.
sandflies. Sounds delightful.
Yeah, not quite. 40 bites in one night. And itching for weeks.
Ugh. Makes you appreciate good insect repellent.
It's a reminder of those everyday environmental challenges you just don't face in the same way everywhere.
And then moments of beauty, too. Like the rainstorm breaking the heat during that search for toucans.
Yeah, even though they didn't see the wildlife, that relief from the rain, the lightning, a small pause.
Nice. Okay, but we have to talk about Coco.
Oh, Coco the watchdog, yes.
This is just brilliant. Hired for security
Big dog, looked the part.
and proceeds to make friends with a drunk guy who wanders in.
It's just perfect, isn't it? The complete opposite of what you'd expect. Judy's reaction, the police taking ages.
And Coco being offended, she got locked away from her new buddy.
It's wonderfully absurd. A bit of light relief.
Totally.
Yeah.
And watching the Land Cruiser, the elephant method, what even is that?
I can only imagine. Sounds like quite the production.
It really does. Okay, so that's daily life. Now, communication. The journal says language is everything.
Which is so true, especially cross-culturally. It connects you, but boy, can it trip you up.
And there are some classic examples here. The missionary, embarrassed verses.
Pregnant. Embarazada. Oh, dear. An easy mistake phonetically, maybe, but what a difference in meaning.
You feel for her. And the youth pastor.
Buenos nachos. Consistently.
Instead of buenos noches. Good night versus, well, good nachos.
You gotta admire the effort, I suppose.
Yeah.
Good intentions, slightly off execution.
Bless him. And the wife calling her husband her marido.
Instead of just, husband.
Right.
Saying he's her illicit lover. Oops.
Imagine the raised eyebrows. Cultural nuances are key.
Definitely. Then the youth group singing about beer.
Cerveza instead of servir to serve. And a worship song.
Oh, that's brilliant. Must have changed the mood somewhat. Just a slight mispronunciation.
And the pharmacist asking about kids' anos, not años.
Rectums instead of years. Oh my. Cringeworthy, but also darkly funny. You can picture the parents' faces.
So awkward. That single letter makes such a huge
The
difference.
critical difference.
And Cindy telling someone to put gatos in their ear.
Cats. Instead of gotas, drops.
Put cats in your ear. Just imagine receiving that instruction.
Utterly baffling.
But it wasn't all just funny mistakes, right? There was real connection happening despite the challenges.
Yeah, the author mentions thinking in Spanish back home, feeling that emotional tie to the people.
That immersion, even with the struggles, it changes you. Creates empathy.
It really does. And it wasn't just spoken language either, that story about Rwanda and Zaire.
Oh, right. Medical groups bartering supplies, transferring patients.
Even though they spoke different languages, French and English, but they had that shared goal, helping people.
Finding a way to communicate through action, basically. Necessity is the mother of invention, eh?
Truly inspiring. Common humanity shining through.
Then back to the earlier days, in a honka. That difficult labor.
And the radio didn't work. Dead battery.
In such a remote place, the patient had a previous C-section, no surgical backup. Talk about feeling vulnerable.
Completely isolated. And in that moment, prayer became the only option left. It really highlights its importance when other resources fail.
Yeah. And the author connects that feeling, that isolation, and inability to radio home, worrying about family.
Connects it to that deeper human or spiritual longing for connection, for communication with God.
Exactly. Worries about kids, accidents, the dog even. Just that basic human need for contact and reassurance.
Very relatable fears.
And then finally, the massive change brought by technology.
Email.
Oh, yeah, revolutionary for mission work, going from prayer requests taking months.
To basically instant communication, sharing needs, getting support back quickly.
Huge difference. Fostering that sense of community, even across continents, the journal itself being sent by email.
And reaching people everywhere. Even a nurse in South Vietnam read it. Amazing. Shows how technology shrinks the world, connects people who would never have connected before.
It really is remarkable. So, wrapping this up, what are the big takeaways for you from this deep dive?
Well, several things. The harsh realities of healthcare with limited resources, that's unavoidable.
Definitely.
The funny side and the difficulties of cross-cultural communication, but also just the resilience, the resourcefulness.
Yeah, the screwdriver.
Exactly, and the power of human connection, community, prayer, all woven together.
For me, it's maybe that image we started with, the families holding the IV bags.
Yeah.
It just sums up so much about the disparity, but also the love and the ingenuity that comes out of need. It sticks with you.
It really does. Or maybe Coco, the friendly watchdog, for a lighter note. The sheer unpredictability of life.
Huh, true. A good counterpoint.
Right.
So maybe a final thought for everyone listening.
Oh.
How does this huge variation in access to basic healthcare, access to communication tools, how does that shape who we are, how we see the world, and ultimately how we connect with and help each other, both near and far?
That's a big question. What does it really mean to be connected today with all these different realities coexisting?
Something to chew on, for sure.